Welcome to No Violence for Kids Canada. My name is Danielle, and I am here joined with the lovely Amy. And the two of us are going to continue our series on breaking cycles for parents. And we believe that parenting without force is possible. And so we're just going to get right into it today. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through a list of questions. And every week at this time, we're coming up with new topics around parenting that can help just further any conversation around how parents can parent without force. So this is, I think, week 5, Amy. We've done punishment, triggers. Yeah.
Compassionate remedy. Is that part of the series?
We haven't done compassionate remedy yet, but we were gonna. We're
Okay.
gonna. So before we get started on the questions, how about Amy, you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hello, everybody. My name is Amy Vaughn, and I'm a registered counselor. And I am sitting here today and living on the unceded territory of the Tsleil-Waututh, Musqueam, and Squamish people, who have been wonderful stewards of this land since time immemorial. And I'm really happy to be here with Danielle because I love talking to Danielle. And I love talking about kids and being a parent of an 8-year-old myself and a counselor who is always trying to take all of this and bring it right down into here. I always love talking about this stuff.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here, and thank you for that land acknowledgement. I'm here on the unceded land of the Kwantlen Nation, and which is also part of just outside of actually the Musqueam Nation. So in Surrey, BC. So you're in Vancouver, and I'm in Surrey. Represent BC.
That's right.
Okay. Well, let's just get into it right away. And so we'll just start with our questions. So this is question number 1, Amy. It's a big one. What is patience?
I think it just it's so hard to answer this without answering the questions about what are triggers and what is self-compassion. It's really all related to me. A really simple explanation that I've heard from somebody that practices focusing oriented therapy with children. His first name is Derek. I apologize, I forget his last name. And he visits schools in Ireland and teaches them how to pause. And he uses the analogy of a pop bottle, and he brings in a 2-liter and he shakes it up and then shows them the difference between unscrewing the top quickly and unscrewing it slowly. And so these children that have challenges in the school system learn how to regulate by learning how to pause and let out a little bit, and then pause and let out a little bit more, so that it comes out in a way that is digestible. That's the first thing I thought of.
Thought of pop bottle, unscrewing it, and how to. I love it. So pause, let out a little bit. There's so much process in that. It's helpful to visualize. Excellent. Love it. Love it.
And you?
So well, guess what? We have a new guest that's joining us right now. We have Mr. Cale Campbell coming in. So, Cale, I'm just going to bring you right into the live session right here. There's Cale. Hi, Cale.
Hi, how are you two doing?
Good.
Great.
It's great that you're here. So, Cale, we were just got started, and the first question is over to you. What is patience?
I don't have any.
Okay. Well, I've been working with you for a while, and I would argue you seem pretty patient. So maybe other times you don't. So, what is patience?
Yeah, patience to me is probably trying to stay in the moment and yeah, and knowing that we can have a small effect on the way the world spins, but it's going to spin anyways. So yeah, just being patient and watching, and for me, it's listening to my kids and the rest of my family at times, and making sure that I'm here for the long haul, not trying to change things too quickly.
Okay. Wow, Amy, I really hear this theme because Amy shared a really cool pop bottle analogy on releasing slowly, pause, releasing slowly. And you're talking about presence and observation and listening. For me, when I think about patience, I think of it as a virtue. I think of like traditionally, that's kind of been what, patience is a virtue. I also think about, I think it's a holy grail of parenting. So in my work with parents, it's literally on almost every call the word comes up. So I always say if I could bottle patience, I'd be able to quit my job, sell it. It's so needed in so many, like parents really want patience, but is it tangible? So both your explanations are more kind of esoteric. They're out there, right? So it's hard to kind of grab on to what it actually is. And I think for me, it's that seeking of thinking we don't know what it is when really I think it's in process. Patience is having procedures that solve problems. And so that's kind of what comes up for me. All right, we're going through questions here. We're ready for question number 2. And here we go. Oh, there we go. Amy, why do so many parents want more patience?
Because we get triggered. these questions overlap so well with the triggering video that we did a little while ago. Yeah, I think I know that I get impatient, and this isn't my thought process in the moment, obviously, but I think at its most foundational level, I get impatient when I feel threatened, when my boundaries are being crossed, when my time is being jeopardized, my energy, my autonomy. Um, it's really hard to put aside our, kind of who we are as parents or what it is that we really want to do, and make room for our kids and our kids' needs. So yeah, I actually would say that's probably the biggest one for me is the autonomy, because I want to do what I want to do. I want to be a human being, and then child comes in with their needs, and then it's like, you're negotiating boundaries.
So parents for you might want more patience because they want to do what they want to do. They want autonomy.
I do.
We're all in a yes. So Kale, what about you? Why do you think parents want so much patience?
Because to me, it's that transition from not being a parent to a parent, in that time changes. Before being a parent, there were people who took up your time, but nowhere near how a child kind of takes up your time and kind of fills your life, fills your day, right? So, we're going to have things thrown at us in life that we need patience for, but it's definitely the children that we recognize that's new to us, that why we need that patience for them. My daughter took a glue stick and pasted a piece of paper onto the floor, and I saw her starting to do it, and I think I might have said something to her, and then later on in the evening I saw it pasted to the floor, and I was just losing it. I took a breath, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have to be patient here. And it cleaned right up. It was the most easiest cleanup job I had done all week. My floors are never clean. They're always in a state of, I'm going to clean up that spot. And, it just took that patience of taking the breath. So, and I think that's why we want more of it, is because we have lost our time to our children. And, really, I don't think most parents realize that, their life is going to be 10 times fuller. And what they thought they might have had time for, they don't, which is fine. Like, we just need to be realistic and learn that. So,
Well, I'm seeing a connection between Amy, your talk about like you want to be a person, autonomy, and then Kale referring back to life before kids, that individual who you are before kids. So I wonder if there's something in that about parents want more patience because they want to be whole while they're a parent somehow. You know, there's something really good there. For me, I think parents are also afraid of what might happen when they're not feeling patient. So they're maybe anxious about escalation, conflict escalation, what's going to happen, unpredictability. Um, and so they want more patience to have control of the situation to keep their family safe and to keep themselves safe. And also, I think, too, like there's that time factor, right? They want more patience so that they can get everybody on board so they can do the next thing. And so, yeah, that's my thought in when I think of like patient parents want more patience because of the goodness of what they know is best and they're afraid of escalation. And without patience, though, what can happen? So, all right, next question. Here we go. Amy, what gets in the way of parenting patience? There it is again.
There it is. Let's see. What I've noticed in the last few days and the last 8 years is that when I'm already in a certain mindset, it's much more easy for me to flip off at my ever patient son. Not ever patient. My poor son. So if I'm already thinking something and he asks a question that's benign, then I'm more likely to answer like really, kind of harshly and sharply and too much, overreacting to the situation. And then if he asks a question that's confrontational, that's something that, we've already had a conflict about before, then I'm really likely. So I noticed that my energy from what's already going on in my internal experience just has this huge potential to make a situation that wasn't charged.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm thinking negative thoughts, when I'm angry about something, whenever I'm disconnected from myself, from my present experience, from my body, ruminating, whatever, then yeah, that's when I
That
just
gets in the way.
respond according to what's going on to me rather than what's actually happening in the environment.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So when you're like what Kel was saying about being present, so when we're not patient, when our mind is all kinds of other places. And I like what you said, like that benign question. What an honest thing to say, Amy. Like kids, it does feel like that when kids say things, right? We're kind of like, that's not even relevant with the dishes right now, or whatever you're doing, right? Like the adult things that we could be thinking about. Yeah, yeah. What gets in the way for you, Kale, of patience?
A lack of sleep.
Good answer. That is, yeah. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we bought a king size bed, not because we're really big people, but we have two children who love to visit in the middle of the night, and it can be or at 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. So yeah, I mean it's really to me it's how we take care of ourselves, right? So if we get to bed late and then lose sleep due to any number of reasons, which could include our children, and yeah, just the ability to be patient is just it's truncated for me. So yeah, one of the things that has helped me with my patience is that I gave up alcohol, so I sleep better, and my impulse, yeah, if I've had a drink, I'd be more impulsive and probably not as patient. So I haven't lost weight, but I hope I've gained patience since giving up alcohol.
Thank you for sharing that, Kale. I love your honesty when we talk all the time. And it's cool that you're noticing, like, I think that's it, right? Like when we're tired, when we're hungry, when we're lonely, when we're, what is it, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Those are great reasons I think that can get in the way of being patient. And that's not who a parent is. Those are external things. I think parents are wanting to be patient. They're in their gut and in their heart. Naturally, if we had all of these things in place, all the resources, all the sleep, all the like everything we needed to bring out that parent, right? In the heart of parents, parents are generally really patient in my experience. But being present is hard. And so that's what I think gets in the way is the external things. And we really want to be that parent that is in our heart. And so there's this friction just inside of us that gets in the way. All right, next one. Where do we learn patience? Amy, this is a good one for you because I think you might have lots of strategies. Listening.
That's exactly the opposite of what I was just thinking.
Oh.
Trial by fire. Yeah. I would like to honestly say that I haven't really ever tried to learn to be more patient, even though I've wanted to. The times when I am more patient are just times when I can notice things around me using my five senses, when I can hear what's happening in the environment, see what's happening, when I can look in my child's eyes and notice what's happening for them. When I can kind of slow down and breathe. So, trying to do these things makes me more patient.
100%.
Over many years, I've noticed my reaction slowing down. But I find that patience is so much a product of the environment rather than its own thing, right? It's like it's not really the icing on the cake. It's just like something that happens when something else happens. So in my own journey as a human and as a parent, I'm really trying to give myself a break as much as possible, to be more self-compassionate. I'm really trying to live in my body and in the present moment, and then patience is more likely to come when that happens. And it sure doesn't help to have mentors and friends that one of my closest friends, kind of my adopted sister, just constantly, not so much giving me parenting advice, but just saying, I've been there, I did that. Yeah, her kids are all older, and she's like, this is what happens. I also messed up here. My kids turned out great, and you're not alone. This is normal. So all of these things just help me to take a breath. Be like, okay, like Kale was saying, a bit of perspective. This is not forever, and I am not the center of the universe.
Kale, where do you learn patience?
I've definitely learned it with there's a course that I took with the health authority here in Victoria or in BC. But it's based on the work of John Kabat-Zinn and his mindfulness and health practice. So using meditation, but also journaling and just trying to work through some of the things that make me impatient, right? And sit with those things. So, and I learned it from, trying to watch my kids and be patient with them, right? Because they're trying, right? They're trying to learn their emotions. They're trying to learn how to cook. They're trying to learn how to play and fight, and they're trying to learn how to interact. So, just try to sit and watch them and either let them participate and not trying to be like, no, you can't cook with it. No, you can't use a knife. it's yeah, it really challenges me, and then I start to, really learn. Oh, I can be patient. Like I don't need to get my son to school on time, right? Like
Mm,
that's my BS about being late. That's the other people's BS about being late. I'm like, we can get to kindergarten whenever we get there,
mm,
right?
that's
So
very patient.
yeah, I mean, I was today. I was stressed about getting my son to school on time. I'm like, not the important part. Yeah,
Mm,
important part is that we got there safely and had a good time, right? So really, that's getting to kindergarten on time is not important, but
wow,
learning that patience and uh, doing it safely is what's important in my mind. So,
appreciate that. What I'm hearing there is, just to summarize again, acceptance. Like so much about being accepted in the moment. And then expectations, are they reasonable? Right? And checking in with that expectations. And I think that's a practice. Like to me, patience is learning patience is a practice, a lifelong practice. So practicing acceptance and expectations and like checking in, a lot of checking in. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a patient person or not. I haven't had kids since, well, I have kids, but they're like older, 30 and 26. And I think now I'm definitely a lot more patient. I think we lost Kale. But yeah, it's definitely, I just send my heart out to all the parents out there who want more patience and recognize that you're human. And I like what you said, Amy, about normalization, like normalizing that parenting is hard. It's normal to feel impatient, and it's I think part of like your drive to be that best parent you want to be, which is no perfect parent, being that messy middle is so uncomfortable. And that acceptance of recognizing, hey, I'm impatient right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, do you have a thought around that, Amy?
Oh, that's just music to my ears. Yeah. I find that the irony is that when I try to be a better person, it just makes me more anxious. And when I can just kind of notice where I am in the moment and observe that and accept myself, just like I would accept any impatient parent and just expect them to be impatient because they're human. And when I can do
Mm-hmm.
that for myself, um, it just gives me the space to actually experience, yeah, more calm and for more patience. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so much about humanizing ourselves.
Hmm.
So much. Like parents are hard on themselves.
Oh yeah.
Whew, whew. But I think also too, like just to add to that, what's coming up for me, Amy, is parents are hard on themselves because look at all the competition. If you've been to chapters and seen all these books, like how to parent, there's the pressure on, finances, there's pressure on like global pandemics, wars, competition in different things, being super busy, relationships, and then I think social media competition as well. You open up Facebook, and I belong to a ton of parent groups. There's so much information on what to do, and the expert is the parent,
Mhm.
and the humanizing that relationship. And I think it can be a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. Yeah. And another time it would be maybe interesting to do something around this, one of these talks about um, how, in our culture right now, and for a little while now, the parent is considered the person mainly responsible for how a child grows into themselves. Um, it wasn't always that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're so parent centric now and parent focused, and I would even argue even more mom focused. Thank you, Freud. And even though most of us would say we're big proponents of him, that has not
Yeah.
really gone away. And so, yeah, the amount of pressure to see your child as an extension of you and to really take responsibility for how they turn out. So you've got that, and then you've got that marketing piece. And then you've got like my generation, my parents were boomers and their parents were veterans and a lot of them were alcoholics. And so we have like this experience of I want something better for my kids. And there was a lot of conflict. Yeah, and also a lot of emotional neglect. So that
Mm.
that personal experience of, oh yeah, I want something much better for my kids. So you've kind of got all these things um, that yeah can really be pressurizing if we
Mhm.
let them. And then what you said before is really just I think important in pushing that aside is this is who I am and what I'm doing right now, and I can be okay with that. I can let myself be who I am right now.
Ooh, that's heavy and so true. I love that you're bringing into like history and these paradigm shift of what we know now about. There's so much wonderful information on what effective parenting is, which adds to that extra data, right? The extra information out there. And I think the pressure of that adds, before it was just kids listen to their parents, be obedient, right? It was easy to just tell Johnny to, go in the corner or maybe give him a spanking or yell at him. And Johnny would definitely retreat and become more quiet and obedient. So, now it's so much more nuanced and there's so much more skill. And
Mm.
I think you're right. I love what you said. It parent centric world is so true. And you're right. In the past, it wasn't community. Now I can see this movement towards that now, and I feel excited about that, recognizing that we're part of the biosphere. We're not just part of humanity. We're part of the world, nature. Our children belong in the biosphere as we do. And this is a community and collective care of children. And once I think I seem to hope, like when we can find those connections in our community and in our nature and our world, that those things support our patients, right? They support our care, but we're up against a battle, right? And I really do see this like parent crunch. And that's really why I think the repeal for Section 43 in Canada is so important, because to provide support for families, make sure the federal government puts that first. So when they're making policies, regulations, legislations, that they know that they have to prioritize children. And that's collective across Canada, like not just some provincial funding policy. It's actually part of our structure and our systemic foundation. But whew, we keep the fight. We'll keep fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be so nice to move beyond this question of hitting children and just to kind of get that out of the way to be, how can we help children to grow into themselves in the healthiest community possible rather than this, yes or no to hitting kids like that. There's so much more. I mean, to have the community surround the children in our society again and to kind of have them be the focus of it, and when that happens, I really believe that all the other layers are taken care of, like when you throw a pebble into a pond and you see the concentric circles
Mm,
of care. Yeah, that'd be
so
awesome.
powerful. You're so powerful. So it goes into that idea then. What are some strategies? Because of this, I think we agree parents are under stress. There's a crunch on parents, there's extra pressure on parents. So having strategies, procedures to help them in the moment can be really helpful.
Mm.
What are some go-to strategies that you can, share?
I think that the lack of patience has to do with pressure. Kind of goes back to the pop bottle. Um, but yeah, I think anything that takes pressure off of parents in the moment is going to help them to be patient. It's not really, I don't really see it as a relational issue primarily. It's more of our relationship with ourselves primarily
Mm-hmm.
rather than what's happening in the family. Um, So, there's a lot of information, like you were saying right now. There's a lot of YouTube videos on breathing, orienting. Um, if we do these things, and this isn't advice to, like, meditate for 15 minutes every morning. It's not like that, but for every time we can do something like that, something that is orienting and grounding, it deepens those neural networks. So it's
Mm,
not an all or nothing thing. Um, every time we can do something, it counts. And do something means, like, stop and take a breath, like you just did. It might mean to watch a 5-minute YouTube video. It might mean to take, like, a course in parenting or read a meditation book. But we don't want to pressure ourselves to say that we have to do that to be a patient parent.
mm,
Every little tiny pause and recentering and noticing of ourselves, it all counts. It's all that stream through the ravine that just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So I would say just to celebrate every moment that we can pause. And I would say even more important, if we don't, or if we notice that we're not being patient, not to beat ourselves up for not being patient, not to beat ourselves up for not meditating, just to really be the first people to give ourselves a break as parents. Like, we have to do that. Like you said, we're not getting it from the media, and we're not getting it from a lot of outside sources. So if we can just kind of be our own advocate and appreciate ourselves for wanting something different for our kids, I think that makes a big difference.
that's really, really profound. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. I love that you're looking at, well, first off, guilt-free, right? Let's not shame ourselves that we're human. And when I'm thinking about that, what was coming up so much was that practicing patience is something that is lifelong, and that is, there's a sense of timeliness to it. Like, the word patience has some time to it somehow, like there's urgency or slowing down. So recognizing that it's okay at any time to take care of yourself at any
Mhm.
time. That's really what boundaries are about. Like, hey, right now I need me, and to be that person for yourself that you need. And I think that's, as parents, to be reminded that it's just okay to have compassion for yourself. It's okay to check in. It's okay to go down into your gut, into your shoulders, and care about yourself and notice your body being present, and notice who you are in the moment, and celebrate yourself in the moment. Because I think even that quick little reflection into yourself, like you said, deserves celebration with all of the pressure we're talking about. That's, to me, practicing patience is like celebrating yourself and knowing that just a quick minute, a quick second of acknowledgement is, I think, courageous and powerful in this world when parents do that. And that's what breaking cycles is about, to me, is like,
Mhm.
be who you are, and take what works, what feels good, and also be what you are. I have a phrase, I'm going to share it. I wrote it,
Mhm.
and it goes like
Mhm.
this: patience is possible when parents practice procedures that solve problems. And then it's pretty good. There's lots of peace. I have another one, and it's: peace is possible when parents practice procedures that solve problems.
Mm.
So it's all the P's. But it comes up like power, purpose, people. Like, all these P's come up for me when I think about patience, power, punishment, like, all these things. But I really feel like just by practicing and acknowledging that practice doesn't have to be for an hour, there's no guilt in it. Just acknowledge yourself and know that you're human and you're important. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
is
I
that
don't know
it?
how much time we have, but just one thing from what you said is that I think that um, self-acknowledgement and permission to meet our own needs at any time, I think that does address a problem. that we might have learned as children, and that our culture definitely, supports, is just this thing of constantly putting aside our own needs. And when we acknowledge and honor our own needs, I think that goes a long way towards patience.
Sure does. I think we're both on the same page that parents are just fantastic and we're super hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Super. And I don't think it's being hard on ourselves. I think the world around us makes it so. So the force is strong, right? And so more celebration of parenthood and more celebration of humanity and humanhood within parents, for sure. Thank you so much, Amy. This was really, it felt like a gentle talk, and it was almost felt therapeutic to just talk about this way. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you too, Danielle.
Thank you, everybody out there. And as you can see on my channel, No Violence for Kids Canada, I've got lots of videos. So there's some shorts. I've been interviewing heroes of mine that are in the world of corporal punishment, anything from children's rights, different types of theories to look at in how to incorporate peaceful parenting or kind parenting, assertive parenting, just nonviolence all over. I've also interviewed people from Julian Van Turnhout from Ireland to look at what happens after a ban in corporal punishment, as well as interviewed Dr. Grief from Australia, who's so lovely. And she's a lawyer there who really supports children and has done some incredible research around corporal punishment. So please do like, subscribe, and help us get the voice out there. Our job really is raising awareness around Section 43 of the Criminal Code of Canada, and to answer Truth and Reconciliation, call the number 6 to ban corporal punishment in Canada. So anybody that's out there and listening, please do help us by spreading the word. You can also find us. Amy and I are working behind the scenes at No Violence for Kids Canada on our Facebook page. So please go to Facebook at No Violence for Kids Canada and share our page, like our posts, and make comments, anything to get those algorithms going, because for us, it's all about just getting the word out there. So in 2023, we're going to repeal 43, and I'm not going to stop until royal assent. That's the way it's going to be.
Yay.
So, yay. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. We're not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but we'll let you know.
Ciao.